There's only one thing I can really think of. And this goes back to my friend Rudy Giuliani, who, of course, was famously the mayor of New York. He happened to be the mayor of New York, of course, during those horrendous 9/11 attacks all those years ago. And Rudy pursued a policing policy known as the broken windows policy. And what it said was that if on a street you've got smaller issues like graffiti on walls, like litter on streets, like broken windows, that the atmosphere of that street was one in which petty crime started to thrive. And that actually a lot of this crime was bottom up. It was lots of people committing petty crimes in those environments who then went on to commit more serious crimes. So he brought in something called a zero tolerance policy. Now, in America, sentencing in America is frankly pretty savage. But they did drastically reduce crime on the streets of New York, and it became a safer city than London. And I can remember going to New York in the mid-'80s and really thinking, gosh, I think we better, it's after dark, it's night time, we've had a drink, I think we better get a taxi wherever we're going, to the mid-'90s when I felt quite confident at any time of the day or night, frankly, strolling down Fifth Avenue. So it was an amazing achievement. It did coincide with drugs prices falling, and I do think we can't debate crime without thinking about drugs, the county lines gangs, and all the rest of it. So tell me, what do we need to do? And am I perhaps exaggerating how important this issue is? Well, Boris Johnson took it very seriously in the general election, and he has promised that they're going to reduce crime by 20%. Violent crime, he wants to reduce by 20%, and he's doing that by announcing a further $1 billion for police forces. He's doing it by saying that there will be recruited in the next few years up to 20,000 police officers, and we're told the first 6,000 will be recruited fairly shortly. Is that enough? As I say, I know that Brexit has dominated our national debate hugely over the course of the last few years, and not surprisingly. And it isn't going to go away on the 1st of February completely, because there are a lot of issues to deal with. But I do think that other kinds of national debate will begin to take over, perhaps by the end of this year. And I think crime, how we deal with crime, is one of them. And before I move to our first caller, can I just make this one point? I gave you the stat. Only 1 in 14 crimes reported leads to anyone getting charged. But that is of reported crimes. My feeling is crime is now so commonplace, we don't even bother to report it. I was the victim of one crime last year. I didn't bother to report it. Kids get their iPhones nicked on the way home from school. They don't bother to report it. And I wonder just how much unreported crime has gone up. And I'd love to see some polling and surveys on that.